More than 36 million American adults struggle to read, write, do math, and use technology above a third grade level. Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm your guest host, Mallory Teeter, sitting in for Bobby. With us today is Grace Klaus, the Executive Director of Joplin Neighborhood Adult Literacy Action. Most of our viewers probably know what NALA is, but for those who don't, tell me about your organization.
Thank you for having me today. So NALA, N-A-L-A, is the Neighborhood Adult Literacy Action, and we are a nonprofit literacy organization founded in 1981. So we serve adults in the community free of charge to the students in all kinds of literacy subjects. So we do reading, math, English as a second language. We've also recently started computer literacy programs as well as health and financial literacy programs.
Awesome. So what do you do with your job, particularly for the organization?
I'm the director, so I do just about anything that needs to be done. We are a volunteer-run organization, so I manage the volunteers and train them, and then I also come and talk to people about NALA and tell them about the things that we do and how they can get involved.
Okay. And how many clients do you typically serve locally?
So on an average year, we serve anywhere from 100 to 150 adults in our community. This past year has been really different for everyone. In 2019, we served 105 adult learners, and through 2020, we retained 57% of those students.
Awesome. And where do your clients come from, and where do you most see them from?
So we serve anyone who can get to us. We are located in Joplin, Jasper County, but we will serve clients from Newton County all the way to Pittsburgh, anywhere where students might need our help and can get to us at our location on Main Street.
Okay. And what are the requirements for the individuals wanting to enroll into your program?
So our program is something that students that come to us, they come to us because they want to improve their literacy skills. So we don't offer benefits. Students don't get paid to come to us or anything like that. So they come on their own free will. So anyone who wants to come to us who's over the age of 17, they qualify for our program.
Awesome. So how has COVID impacted or changed your program, NALA, in particularly?
Yeah, so whenever COVID hit in March of last year, we were a week away from our big fundraiser. So we canceled that and we canceled all of our classes and closed down so that we could work on recreating our programming and how we were going to offer that to students without that face-to-face, one-on-one or classroom style interaction.
So in a way, did it kind of help and build the organization further?
Yes, that's the ultimate goal. We recreated our programming to serve in a distance learning setting. So we offered virtual classes over Zoom and other platforms. But there's a lot of barriers whenever it comes to technology in individuals with low literacy. So we also used the mail system. We also mailed classwork to students who could then work on that independently, call us with questions, and then send back maybe some homework or something for us to take a look at. So we recreated distance programming, and we really hope to continue doing that. So we're actually reaching more students who are not necessarily in an area where they can always get to us as easily, and we want to keep doing that for the foreseeable future, even as we return back to the classroom.
Yeah. And how difficult was it for those who don't have internet access to do remote learning?
It was extremely difficult. So we received a grant a couple of years ago from Dollar General that enabled us to buy Chromebooks. So students who did not have the technology of a computer or a smartphone to join those classes, we were able to check out those Chromebooks. And students who did not have the technology and did not have the internet access, that's where we really had to kind of think outside of the box and use the Postal Service to get them materials and keep them engaged and keep them learning. But one great example, I had a student who did not have adequate internet access or computer. He checked out a Chromebook, and then he would drive to the library parking lot and sit in his car for class. So our students genuinely want to be in class and have done everything they can to remain in class through COVID, even when there are really big milestones for them to work through in their own personal life.
Yeah. Okay. Is there a constant need for volunteers right now or in this foreseeable future?
So we are always in need of volunteers. As I said, all of our tutors and our teachers that work with our students are volunteers. So we don't keep any tutors on staff. We recruit and train volunteers to work with these adult learners. And so as we get students and as things, especially now, really start picking back up, and we bring students back in and bring in new students who maybe weren't able to start with the distance learning programs, we are always year-round, every year, in need of people who are willing to work with these adult learners and create a really respectful and fostering environment where they can learn as adults, as the adults that they are.
Yeah, and what are some qualifications to be a volunteer?
So we do require that our volunteers are 18 and that they do have a high school equivalency or degree. And we work with them to train them to work with the adult tutors. We use resources from Pro Literacy. Prior to COVID, we did have twice a year, we had a tutor training workshop in person. And we are not currently doing that, but rather using online resources through Pro Literacy and other organizations that we are members of to train them in specific teaching methods as well as expectations in the classroom. And then once they're trained as a tutor, we work with them. We will test the students. When they first come to us, we test them with standardized testing to gauge their reading level and what level of material they're going to need in the classroom. So we then choose the material that's best for them and work with the tutor to make sure that they understand how to use the material and how to teach the material before we pair a student and tutor together.
Yeah. And can you tell me why someone should be a volunteer at NALA?
Well, it's very rewarding. It's rewarding work to be the reason that someone's able to learn to read, to better their life, to get a better job, or get their high school equivalency, or learn English so that they can communicate with their kids' teachers at school. So it's very rewarding, and I have seen a lot of really great friendships foster out of student and tutor pairings. We try and keep in mind the personalities and the needs of each student and tutor whenever we place them together. And I have students and tutors now, pairings, who no longer meet for tutoring, and maybe they've reached their goals, but they still meet, a couple times a year at the park and catch up on each other's families. So it's not only rewarding, but it's rewarding long term if you fostered that really great, appropriate relationship.
And how do you guys find that perfect pairing for a volunteer and a client?
So whenever a student or a client comes in, we interview them. I try and sit down, myself or the program coordinator will sit down and talk with them, and we have them fill out a data sheet and what their goals are. So we really try and get to know them. And we do the exact same thing with our volunteers and tutors. We try and get to know them, find out what their goals are in tutoring. And, sometimes pairings don't work out, and that's okay. We just try again. So we really try and do so on a case-by-case basis by getting to know these people.
Yeah. Can you tell me Can you tell me about some of the main fundraisers for each year that NALA does have?
Yeah, so we have always had our spell ball, our annual spell ball. 2019 was our 20th annual spell ball, which is a baseball-themed spelling bee. And
that's fun.
Yes, it was so much fun. Our 21st spell ball was canceled because of COVID. and we were not able to get together for that this year either. But instead, we are starting a new fundraiser to celebrate our 40th year anniversary, and maybe we can incorporate spell ball into that in the future. But we've had a fabulous time getting to know people who are a part of spell ball, and getting the word out and having a lot of fun with the community.
Yeah. So with your 40th anniversary coming up, can you tell me a little bit about your guys' history and how you guys were founded?
Yeah, so in 1981, Joplin Naylor Reed was founded by a group of people in the community who really saw a need and wanted to fill that need with literacy services. And Nayla started in the living room of the original director.
That's so fun.
Yeah, so they had volunteers from the community come over and work with students right there in her home. That was actually our first location.
Interesting.
We've been in a couple buildings since then, but it's a really cool history to know like how the community members saw a need and said, we'll do anything we need to.
Yeah, and how much you have evolved your organization now, too.
Yes. 40 years later, we are now located at 123 South Main Street, which is the same building where you might see the trolleys coming and going.
Yes.
Yes, it is the public transportation building, and we share our building with Joplin Adult Education and Literacy.
Okay.
And they focus solely on high school equivalency attainment through Joplin schools, and so we work with them. We bring students to them, and we take on some of their students that need additional help as well. And it's been a great time getting to know everyone. I've personally enjoyed it. The board members and the volunteers and everyone who's a part of NALA is really dedicated, and volunteer-run programs are very hard to sustain, but the fact that we have made it 40 years is really a testament to the community that we live in, and the great work that they do, and the fact that they see things that are needed and they just jump in and take care of it.
Yeah. And how long have you been a part of NALA?
So I have been the director of NALA for 3 years. And I actually started volunteering with NALA in 2016 whenever I was at Missouri Southern.
All right. That's exciting.
Yes.
So how did that grow you as a college student?
So I loved my experience with NALA. I had originally started, I was a member of the Public Relations Student Society of America, and they came in and they said, we have a nonprofit that really needs help with event planning and working on their spell ball. And I jumped in and I started helping, and it's something that even after I graduated, I continued working with NALA. It was something I really enjoyed. And it really opened my eyes to the fact that I wanted to work in nonprofit, and I wanted to give back to my community.
Yeah. And what is NALA going to do for the 40th year anniversary? How are they going to celebrate that?
So this year we are going to host Literacy Liftoff, which is going to be our 40-year celebration and our fundraiser for the year. It's going to be here at Missouri Southern at the soccer fields just south of the library on Thursday, September 9th from 5:30 to 7:30.
Okay.
We're going to have so much fun. I like to think of it as kind of like a fun carnival atmosphere. And we're going to have a tethered hot air balloon, pending weather. Admission is free for the hot air balloon rides. We do have a $5 suggested donation since it is a fundraiser. We're going to have a DJ, food trucks, other literacy organizations, so Joplin Parents as Teachers, the library, Joplin Adult Education and Literacy. We're going to have yard games. We'll have a great raffle, all kinds of fun activities. Admission to the event is free and very family friendly. We are really hoping to reach people who maybe have never heard of NALA or might drive by and think, I wonder what that's about, and get those materials to individuals who might really need them.
Yeah, that sounds very exciting.
Yes.
Where else do you receive funding besides fundraisers that you guys host?
So we are entirely community funded. We do not receive any federal grants or funding. We are United Way agency partners, so we receive about 25 to 30% of our annual funding from United Way, as well as grants from community foundations and individual donations from community members.
Now, does it make it harder that you do not receive funding from the federal government?
So when it comes to federal funding, there are a lot of reporting and requirements, and not receiving federal funding really gives us the freedom to serve anyone who can really make it to us, regardless of if they, increase in testing levels over a certain period of time. And so being entirely community funded really gives us the freedom to serve anyone who can make it to our program.
Can you tell me a little bit about what the importance of literacy services?
Yes, so there are an estimated, believe it or not, 9,000 to 11,000 adults in Jasper and Newton counties who cannot read, write, or do basic math above a third grade level, which is very important in so many different areas. And if you want to invest in children's literacy, one of the greatest ways to do that is to invest in adult literacy, because the most important factor in a child's literacy and education attainment levels is the reading levels of their parents. So if you improve parental literacy levels, you're going to improve children literacy levels as well.
Yeah. Now, what are all the services that your organization, NALA, offers?
So we offer all kinds of literacy services. Just about 50% of our students are English second language or English learner students. So we offer a variety of levels of English classes for non-English speakers. We also have citizenship programs to help individuals receive their U.S. citizenship, and family literacy programs that really allow parents to foster a relationship through reading with their children. And then along with that, we have our reading programs, our math programs, our high school equivalency programs, health and financial literacy, and computer literacy. So we try and help anyone with anything. And, sometimes we have a student that comes to us and says, I really want to pass my written driving test. I haven't gotten my license. I'm 23 years old. It's something I want to work towards. And we'll help them with that. Or someone who comes in and wants to apply for a job but doesn't know how to write a resume. A lot of times if one of the individuals in the office is free, we'll say, you know what, sit down with us. We'll help you with that. Or, come back and make an appointment, or let's make an appointment and we'll come back and we'll help you with whatever it is that you might need.
Yeah, and can you break down a little bit of the different programs and how they're different from each other?
So the computer literacy programs, those we work on, turning a computer on and off, how to get on the internet, how to send an email, anything along those lines. With our financial literacy program, we have partnered with financial institutions in the community, and they come and they give a lesson on what is credit? Do I need a bank account? Do I, why should I, do I need a bank account? Why do I need a bank account? Things along those lines.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and then the health literacy program, we have partnered with some of the health organizations here in Joplin, and now each of these programs, we've only had one seminar, and those were right before COVID.
Yes.
And we are working on getting those back up and operating for, to serve the community. But we've partnered with health organizations here to offer lessons on, do I need a primary care doctor? What is the difference between primary care and urgent care?
Yeah, so you guys kind of are helping kids who are kind of merging into the adulthood, like students like me, kind of in a way. So
we can. So we will serve anyone over the age of 17. So actually in 2019, our youngest student was 17 and our oldest student was 87. So it was kind of a really cool to see that complete range. A lot of people will ask me like, well, how old is your average student?
Yeah.
There is no average student. You know, we have people from all walks of life, all different backgrounds, all cultures, all social classes, everything. And our literacy skills enable adults to find better jobs, to get out of poverty, to improve, their income possibilities.
Yeah.
So we just really try and kind of embody that mission.
Can you tell me a little bit about some success stories that you guys have had?
Yeah, so we had a student come to us. This was about the time that I first started, and he was an individual. He was 17, and he was kind of out of options. He was no longer enrolled in a high school, and he didn't plan to get his high school equivalency necessarily.
Okay.
He wasn't very motivated to do so, but we did match him with a tutor, and the tutor created a relationship with him that was very trusting and encouraged him to want to reach his goals.
Yeah.
And a year later, he received his high school equivalency, and he is working full-time and raising a family of his own.
That's so exciting.
So that was something that, I was very invested in his journey because it was very unique, and it was right around the time that I really got heavily involved with NALA. And
now that must have been very rewarding for you.
Yes, very rewarding just to see that, even if I wasn't his tutor and I didn't, work with him through that curriculum or anything. It was really great to see, the relationships that were built and the progress that was made through his tutoring sessions.
Now, have you made any personal relationships when you first joined NALA?
So I have gotten to know all the students. I consider them friends of mine. That's kind of been the hardest part about COVID, is just not seeing them every day. Sometimes I see them through a computer screen, and
that must be very hard.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing them again. I actually yesterday saw a couple of students I hadn't seen in a while, and it was one of the most exciting times that, in almost 18 months, to be able to see them again and just hear about their families and their lives. And, the adults that we serve are not children. They have families, they have jobs, they have a history, and they have lived their whole lives with these lower literacy levels.
Yeah.
And so just getting to know them and appreciating them and gaining these relationships with them has been a really great experience.
Yeah. Can you, what's the biggest important takeaway that somebody should know about NALA?
So literacy is one of the foundations for so many different socioeconomic issues. And so I think that just really knowing the value of literacy and how thankful, I know that I personally am so thankful to be able to respond to my emails and understand road signs and, get my driver's license and go to college and go to school and have these, professional opportunities and to be able to teach my future children, how to read and how to communicate is really important. And so just understanding, how important they are, and then realizing the benefits that they have afforded me, and the fact that other people really need those as well.
Yeah. And as a comm student, I know how important communication is in our daily lives. Mm-hmm. So it is nice to hear about NALA and what you guys do with your guys' trying to build people's communication levels and so on and so forth. But is there anything else you would like people to know about NALA?
Yeah, so if anyone is interested in contacting us or getting more information on the services we provide or how to get involved, they can go to our website, which is www.joplinnala.org, or give us a call, 417-782-2646, and we would be happy to talk with them about services they may need, or how they can get involved, or how they can give back to the community, or just how to spread the word about literacy in the community.
All right. Thank you, Grace, for joining me today on Newsmakers.
Thank you for having me.
If you would like to donate, whether it's time or money, and to find out about all they offer, you can go to www.joplinnayla.org. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Copeland Studios here at Missouri Southern State University. I am Mallory Teeter in for Bobby Potroff, and we'll see you again soon.
Hi, my name is Justin Smith. I'm a health science paramedic major here at Southern, and I'm from the St. Louis area. I came to Missouri Southern originally because of the paramedic program here. I toured before, and there's not very many places in the United States where you can actually get a bachelor's degree while also pursuing a paramedic education. Coming to Missouri Southern, obviously I was very attracted to the health science program. That's the reason I came down here. And I will say it was kind of a hidden gem going through my tour. I saw the campus, saw the classrooms, then I got up here and saw their extremely interactive mannequins. That's as close as treating a real patient as you can get. And that was definitely something that brought me to this program. The program here at Southern is the only program in the country that has not one but two simulated ambulances. Again, getting as close as you can to actually treating patients out in the field in a simulated environment. It's awesome. It gives you that muscle memory of reaching for everything you need and kind of working in that kind of confined space that you find in the ambulance. Between them two, I would say got almost 40 plus years of experience in EMS. That really kind of molds our education. They got stories for everything, and I know they're very up to date with today's research in EMS, and they're very progressive with their kind of education they do here. It's not just reading out of a textbook, we go off real world evidence. Whenever I first came down here, it kind of gave me that small town feel, and same with the college. It was unusual to be walking to class and seeing somebody I'm friends with, and you don't really get that in a bigger campus. Again, it kind of comes back to the level and quality of education you're going to get. It's not very common. I know especially where I went to EMT school, they didn't have the simulation, they didn't have the equipment that you would be using in the field. It was all the outdated stuff that they've been reusing for 30 years. Coming here, I was able to get my hands on equipment that I'm going to be using and currently am using at my job right now. And I also get to kind of work with some other technology that you don't normally see in the field. And again, you only get that from a progressive environment from an education standpoint. I really like Missouri Southern because it's kind of a smaller campus feel, but it also has the amenities that you get from a larger campus. You don't really feel like there's not enough stuff to do, and there's classes for almost everything you want to take. I came down here, all the people were really nice, all the faculty were very welcoming. It was very easy to kind of make that adjustment and meet new people, especially joining a fraternity when I came down here. I was able to make a lot of really good friends really quickly. It's been wonderful. I know I made the right choice, and coming up to taking my national registry, I feel ready to take it.